We talked about the Kenny brothers. Here's Bryn, the team manager. He's only played twice and once had to actually sub in, so not the best of preparation for that match, of course, but 12 points so far in heads-up competition. Bryn is very satisfied with that. And of course, Kevin McPhee, who did not fare very well in his 2 matches way back in week 2. It's not been a good start for the year for McPhee. We'll have to see how Bryn uses him in the second half of this year. Moving along to the Los Angeles Sunset, it's New York, it's LA. Let's take a look at the Sunset team scoring so far this year. No surprise to see Fedor Holtz at the top of that team's scoring. He overtook Olivier Busquet just a few short days ago after 10 matches. The most matches played in this league, Laura, 10 matches. He's growing close to that cap, so it'll be interesting to see how Maria Ho uses Fedor Holtz in the second half. 32 points in 6-max competition, 9 points in heads up. It really does look like he will become their 6-max specialist for the rest of the year. Olivier Busquet comes in second after 7 matches played. This will be his 8th match tonight. 9 points in 6-max. The man won in 6-max and destroys everything in heads up. 27 points so far. Just a great start to the year. Chance Kornuth started off really well, but had that little mishap at the European Poker Awards that Maria Ho will choose to forget, obviously. He comes in third. Eugene Kachlov has only played twice. 1 point in 6-max, 3 points in heads up. Maria Ho herself has only played 1 match this year, and this guy named Aaron Paul, we might see him, very shortly. He's yet to play, the only player. 71 out of the 72 players have been active. Aaron Paul, the only one not to play yet. Laura, it's been way too long for you and I to have been apart. How about we spend the next 7 weeks in the Las Vegas desert together? Back to you, and I'll see you in a few days.
Yes, I get to see you soon again. I will be in Las Vegas with Eric. We will be going there next week, in fact, just in a few days, and preparing for that very first match of the season, which will be on June the 6th. Mark it in your diary now, and we will be with you every single day from Las Vegas, or actually every 6 days, I think, of the 7-day week, and we will have one heads-up game for you every day then, broadcasting from Twitch. So stay with us here at the Global Poker League, because lots of exciting stuff coming your way very soon. But let's get this last match underway from the mid-season. It is, of course, Thomas Marchese versus Olivier Busquet.
Thanks, Laura. Cheese versus the biscuit. Who's going to win? Tom Marchese against Olivier Busquet. One of the, I think it's maybe the best match in GPL history.
Yeah.
When these two clashed in the heads-up match. So much
what
so
a
that
treat that we've got it for
the
last match
finale
of this
for the
mini-season
epic mini saga
before Vegas. That these two happen to be drawn against each other. Really, really exciting. And I think they probably wanted to test themselves again. I'm not sure who was the home side and who selected second, but these guys really, I think, relished the challenge of facing up against each other in this format. Obviously, one of the things that GPL provides is an opportunity for these two legends and other legends to go head-to-head, whereas, normally a 5K heads-up sit and go, they wouldn't sit down against each other.
Yeah, and a real treat, for people also, if you guys were watching the stream, in the break, they were showing the Tom Marchese versus Olivier Busquet match. So a little context for you guys. Great that you guys were able to see that. So it's going to be really interesting. The callbacks, of course, to talking about what, happened in that previous match. It's going to be fresh in the minds for people that stuck around between the matches. This is going to be really, really exciting.
Yeah, they went blow for blow, bluff, counter bluff, thin value bets, really, really exciting stuff. Two top-level poker minds left us sort of breathless. Obviously, we're trying to convey to the audience in simple terms what these great poker players are doing, but it was on such a high level we were grasping, to try and keep up with the high-level thinking that these guys were employing.
For sure. Let's take a look at Tom Marchese's stats.
Sure.
This is a guy who is a regular of the 25K circuit in Las Vegas. Incredible successful track record. You look at the win rate, which I love to talk about, obviously inflated because he plays these smaller field 25Ks, but still, 14 wins over 66 results. That's an incredible win rate. It's one of the best win rates in the GPL. As you can see, over 13 million bloody US dollars in earnings. This guy is an absolute legend of the game. They call him the Big Cheese for a reason. He's spreading the cheddar any chance he gets. And Olivier Busquet, one of the few guys that can really keep up with him.
Yeah, of course. And the other amazing thing about Marchese is he's primarily a cash game player. This isn't even someone that specializes following on tournament poker, following the circuit all around the world. So that 13 million really, really is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Now let's get to Olivier.
Olivier Busquet, obviously one of the biggest stars in the league. His first heads-up loss the other week to the surprising Felipe Vamos Ramos. But this is a guy, you never know what you're going to get when you get him on the cam. We had him in his apartment a few times. Then we had him, of course, in Jamaica last week with his beautiful girlfriend. So this guy, as you can see, almost 7 million in earnings, 78 results over an illustrious career since May 2008 on the tournament circuit. But someone, as you mentioned before, just perfected and solved the heads-up sit and goes for the biggest buy-ins on PokerStars. No one better in the game, perhaps, than this guy in that format. And that's why, really, the LA Sunset and Maria Ho have thrown him into the heads-up fires here, and he's really proven to be a huge asset for that team.
I mean, incredibly savvy from Maria Ho, because Olivier is a marketable guy in terms of thinking about your franchise. He is articulate. He is popular within the community.
He's good looking.
He has a lot to say.
He's ripped. He's a
but
fighter, a lover.
He's also someone who, as you say, specializes in heads-up sit and goes. So he's a perfect fit for this format. We saw earlier Anthony Zeno, someone that's incredibly successful, incredibly well-respected in the tournament world. But in this particular format, his inadequacies get brutally exposed. Olivier Busquet, someone that spent all his time crafting ranges specifically for this format, real tough opponent for Marchese.
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted to get started. Like, I know we're supposed to keep analyzing, but like, I'm
great.
so
It's
pumped.
funny because I missed yesterday, and I asked Griffin on the way in, who we had for the final day of this mini saga within the GPL, and I was so excited when I found out we were rounding off with Marchese and Busquet.
Yeah, real treat today. We got the comedian, we got Zeno, and we got Olivier Busquet, and we got Tom Marchese.
Yeah, and two franchises also that are battling out at the top of the table. So the broader context of the GPL league, it also means there is a hell of a lot on the line heading into the live portion of
and we can see how big the swings are too with these heads-up matches. You saw the very quick, swift, just cutting up Zeno, what Alavalé did, and the way that really separates, the Montreal Nationals from the rest of the conference. So this is a really important match between the New York Rounders and the LA Sunset to really keep pace with the Montreal Nationals, who have just been blowing by everyone. 106 points, I believe, now in the top of the Americas Conference. So they're really setting the bar. We are ready for the game. They're ready. I'm hoping they're on the cams, and I'm hoping to see some Tom Marchese forehead. One of my favorite things here at the GPL. We'll see how his webcam is positioned.
Yo.
There they are.
What's up, GPL?
Ready to roll. Kind of familiar,
Marchese
by the window.
Yeah, I just had a little deja vu there.
Busquet with his painting in the background.
So just to be clear about how good Tom is, I think I have probably 100 times maybe more experience at these games, and if I have an edge, I think it's super minimal. That just speaks to I think how talented and how good Tom's kind of poker instincts are. This is probably the only format in which I am genuinely competitive with Tom. I think he's one of these guys that if a new poker game was invented, he'd be at the top of the list of people to have an immediate edge. That's how good Tom is. Sorry, I'm just gonna plug my computer in 1 second.
Busquet needs to plug in his computer.
It was funny because in the last match they were sat back chilling and leant further and further forward as the match progressed. I think these guys really, really are going to enjoy the opportunity to go head to head once more.
Yeah.
Tom. It's a little too thin, probably.
little surprised. I guess Olivier just checked back to delayed c-bet that flop from our last match. I thought most of the time I was checking back drive boards. He had a piece.
Guys, if you're just tuning in, I am Griffin Benger. I'm joined by Sam Grafton. This is the last match of the first 8 weeks of the Global Poker League. Match number 80. We've made it. So very, very exciting times here. Summer Series starting on June 6th out of Las Vegas.
Yeah, do tune in. Each and every day we will have superstars in action in an exclusive and new format. Should be really, really exciting. Busquet turning the straight. Marchese's 8 going down in value considerably on that turn card.
That's a pretty rough turn. Probably got bluffed a lot, but can't do much with no diamonds. Bottom pair.
Busquet flopping top pair, Marchese second pair, and a strong one at that. First hand-over-hand situation of the match. Marchese going to have to put chips in.
With a bunch of stuff here, but
on the flop at least. That turn card obviously brings a flush draw.
this is a real tough spot if he bets again. I mean, it's enough folds. I don't know if Olivier is just gonna be like betting twice and giving up. And while I have like a decent 10, I'd rather call with a hand like 7-8. That is a gut shot in a pair. And, like same quality bluff catcher, but more outs to improve.
Marchese structuring his turn calling range around hands that can improve, he says. Third pair with a gut shot more favorable than second pair that cannot improve as easily. Interesting there. I think Marchese may be overfolding if he folds such a strong 10 there. Not certain. Be interesting if Busquet comments when the hand comes up. And
Great flop here for Cheese.
yeah, and Busquet turning a very strong-looking top pair.
He's gonna have ace high a lot on the flop, and he probably expect me to check back my own ace highs here. So he's most likely thinking I'll either have like a draw, a total bluff, or like the occasional 7 when I bet. So I think there's a decent chance I get called down by even like a 6 on this turn.
And Busquet is involved here. Obviously, Marchese can be betting a lot of draws and also worse ace-x, and that is an interesting card.
Might save Busquet some money here.
Yeah.
When Tom bets big on the river, it usually is a 7 or a backdoored
Card if he bets again.
flush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't too good of a river, but at the same time, I mean, it's kind of hard for him to have diamonds because the river's an 8.
Marchese, considering his
It's not
sizing
bad.
on the
See what
value bet,
happens.
and does bet big.
You could have 6x of diamonds. Something like that, but
That the 8 of diamonds just completes a lot. 4, 5, 9, 10. Any 7 beats me. I don't think he'd be trying to get value from worse. Like, could he have ace 10? I mean, he could even have ace 8, I guess. Oh man, it's a tough spot against a guy like Tom. I'm trying to think of the hands that he could have that are bluffs.
Not a lot.
He could, in theory, turn the hand like 8-5 or 8-9 into a bluff.
Definitely. maybe 3-5.
Or he could just have a hand that just doesn't have a ton of equity. I just don't think those cards would barrel an ace turn. I think an ace definitely hits a decent amount of my check calling range. I think I'm just going to fold here.
Busquet does get away from it. Very unfortunate river card for Tom Marchese.
All the draws get there. It's kind of unfortunate. It seems like he was probably pretty likely I made a big fold there.
Yep.
Folded some sort of ace.
Once again, these guys showing they are really, really in tune
Like this.
Best
with
of the best.
Isn't quite
each
good enough
other's
to call.
ranges.
Just, play it as a 3-bet.
So it's Marchese
Griff.
who's off to the best start.
And Sam, what's up, guys?
Hey, bro.
What's up, Rob?
Still 3xing at, what is it? What are we at? 4-8. I still have 50 bigs, so. All right.
Still a pretty nice start just by making a lot of hands, and it seems like he hasn't made much for hands, so it's always nice when you're playing heads up.
Marchese outflopping Busquet here.
Check raise and stack off with it. I mean, I think it's strong enough for the most part. I mean, I'm just ahead so often here, and when you start thinking of like, what are good turns? There just aren't a ton. So I'd rather kind of take down or inflate the pot and see where it goes.
Seeing if I had like some real equity, even like, I don't know, King Queen of Spades or something, I might call. Queen 7 off is just like such a garbage hand, and it's not like it's impossible for Tom to have something. But it's pretty suspicious raise. I could raise again, but that starts to become expensive, and again, this is just like, it's just a weird board to start making weird plays on. Oh, man.
Busquet, not a believer on this dry texture. Marchese not going to have many hands he wants to raise for value. You saw Mitzi take a similar spot yesterday, yeah, when Adams had the aces.
Yeah.
I tuned in to catch a little bit of you guys.
Nice.
This time it does work out for Marchese.
So Romizzi actually cracked aces twice
Just
in
go
that
2.5
match.
as well.
Easy game.
Accomplishes similar while risking half a big blind loss.
Great hand to have here for about 40 big blinds for Olivier Busquet. Tom Marchese does have a hand that a lot of players, I think, would opt to 3-bet sometimes here, which would have worked in the favor of Busquet, as he has definitely has a hand that he can stuff in there. But Marchese, so confident in his post-flop abilities,
Check here. I mean,
deciding to peel
guess I
and
could
getting
see
super lucky on the turn.
betting, just try
Not
to
so
avoid
much on the
having
river.
a river like this run off, but I wouldn't feel that great about getting 2 streets on most turn rivers, and so I just wanted to treat it as a bluff catcher. And now I'm just gonna check call as well. This is
Busquet
like fold top pair and a check down pot even on a river like this, which is
with
somewhat
a value
rough.
bet and a sizable one.
All right.
Good.
For all the latest info, guys, as you can see at the bottom of your screen, about the GPL, do visit globalpokerleague.com. There's even a survey on there where you can feedback to us about any aspect of our programming, any changes you'd like to see made. And Busquet, 3-betting the Jack-10 suited for value. So confident in his heads-up game that he feels comfortable being able to negotiate Jack-high out of position when he does get peeled. And we saw Jason Lavallee getting it done in very quick time. Unlikely that with these two players we're going to see matches end in 3 or 4 hands. Both players that play the streets very comfortably, unlikely
kind of
to be big
just strong
pre-flop
enough
confrontations.
to float here.
Value bet the river if the... Because, let's see.
Still decent equity. And this is going to be a card that I'm going to be bluffing the river on because all my straight draws have now become pairs or straights.
Value bet if I get a river, that's probably 8 to queen and not a diamond. I guess also 4 or 7, clearly.
Which he does. It's a good opportunity now. I already have some missed flush draws, but even those, some of them have 5s or 8s in them or a king high, and I just check back, so.
Busquet going to turn the queen 10 high into a bluff for a big sizing.
He could have checked back like a medium ace. He could have some sort of hand like 2 7s or a river.
This happens, it's rough though. Yeah, I have a good head to call with in that. I don't have a diamond, but
Tough spot here for Marchese,
I give it to him.
but just a great bluff.
I kind of have to have like 9, 10, jack, or queen high diamonds that don't hit a pair. Which
Marchese breaking it down and is pretty correct in assessing Busquet's range. And Olivier Busquet now with the pocket 7s having to negotiate the flop with 1 overcard. Bets for value, and let's see what Marchese does with a strongish flush draw. Just check calls.
Fortunately, I don't pick up any equity here with our flush draw. Probably suck folding if he bets big enough. Then
very similar situation to the last hand.
Bluffing. This is literally the worst hand we could have. So
the player out of position, missing everything.
With those, unless I have a 3/4 pot.
There's value here. I mean, it's such a bad card, the 4.
4 completing 4-5. 6-7 though, Busquet obviously blocks that with 2 7s in his hand. Ace deuce. You know, something like 3-4 suited. He peels pre-flop. Obviously still losing to a king. Makes the call.
Big call for Busquet. Wasn't sure what he was going to do there.
Oh man, it's funny how when hands work out that way. I had the 7s last hand and played it similarly. I folded the river and
yeah,
he had the 7s and called the river.
Marchese completely
hopefully
right.
we're both right.
And Marchese wasn't in fact correct. Really interesting set of hands, pair of hands there that played out in the same way. But Busquet very much the beneficiary. And
I'll defend
takes a
pretty
chip
bad
lead.
hand versus Minraes. It's getting such a good price. Oh, I'm just gonna not try to win this one. Can't really try to win every pot, especially on boards that.
Busquet, so subtle in the way he constructs his ranges. Takes the 8-5 all the way to the river before trying to take the pot away from Marchese, and it does work out for him. Shows you don't have to always be firing flops in order to win the pot with weak hands. And big flop for Marchese.
I'm just gonna check back the flop here. I have a club in my hand, and
Tom capping his range, and boy does it work out.
Just for
Busquet turns the queens
sure
up.
I get paid at least like 1 or 2 streets here. It's so important.
Great board for the shitty queen 6, eh, Sam?
Hopefully we got a good turn that we could shove over. I mean, good river that we could shove over his river bet on. This one's pretty reasonable. I mean, obviously some things got there, but
7-10 gets
Yeah,
there, and
less than
Jack 10
2.5.
gets there. I think almost all of those hands are more likely to be in my range, which means I don't have nearly as many bluffs on the river. My hand, because of my kicker, I think is close between a value bet and a check call. I think I'm going to check and then call a few bets. Might be better as a bet. I'm not sure. He might be unlikely to be betting worse hand, but my hand is so strong, I don't think I can check fold. Some players might elect to bet here in a situation like this
Pretty hard
because
to
they
get
can
paid
try to
here,
control the size of the bet.
We'll give it a shot. Just gonna bet call.
Transparent, it's fine. I think I just have to call this bet.
And this is going to even up the stacks. 50K a piece now. So evenly matched these two.
Back to even.
I don't mind it. It has value in some obvious ways, like the way it just did. It can induce bluffs as well. I think I would personally elect to choose a weaker kicker than a jack to check back on trips. Just because if you're checking back too many sixes, then when you bet on those paired boards, your hands are really, really weak. Your range is super weak. But, I mean, nice play by Tom. I guess there's some players I would consider checking and folding against with that queen there, with that queen 10, but very few. There's just too many worse hands or weird bluffs or whatever. But nice hand, Tom.
With hands like this that just have like no future hopes of improving, usually I'm just gonna find a way to delayed c-bet them rather than bet on the flop. I mean, I just have really poor visibility and kind of like obligated if you get to the river with it to bet the river, even if you bet the flop, just because you don't want to be losing to king highs and eights and things like that.
Such
But,
strong
in this specific spot, he just quickly bet the turn. And
poker strategies, both of these guys. Such generosity to share them with us. If you are trying to improve at poker, absolute gold.
Little piece for everyone here. Olivier Busquet with the fives. Tom Marchese electing to check in the big blind here. Pardon me, just call the raise pre.
Marchese not overvaluing bottom pair, checks the turn with it, and rivers trips.
Disaster.
This is now a call.
And Marchese's going to have a lot of bluffs on this run out. A lot of hands he didn't stab turn with. 9-6 offs, 10-5 suiteds.
Somewhat like we have ace high, but.
And he does fire and get snapped off.
Wow. Probably better than ace high. Lucky river.
Ace king for the cheese.
Right, nice blinds there. Getting up there, we pick up ace king. Olivier definitely seems like way more of a small ball than I would have originally expected before playing him heads up. Like a lot of the heads up go guys who like were playing 5 or 6 years ago were always just like really willing to shove over
Olivier.
Pre-flop raises really wide and like push really thin edges, and I guess that just shows how
checking all the way and
like,
check now,
heads
but
up saying goes have changed
I think
over
for
the last 5 or 6 years, where now everybody has more of a limping strategy and is defending way more versus like shoving over raises.
Olivier getting cooler in a couple spots here. He knows it. Unfortunate turn of events for the Legend of the Sunset. That'd be a great, like, trashy romance novel name, eh? Legend of the Sunset. I mean, he kind of looks like he could belong on the cover of one of those things, you know?
What, a pulp?
Yeah.
Pulp novel.
This has to almost definitely just play better as
even like a bit of like a soft core
I
novel,
got, like,
you know?
worried about playing into
You don't
Olivier's
have
game.
what do you call it? Oh, don't mute me, guys. Come on, jeez. Talking about freaking, those trashy romance novels.
Yeah, Pulp Fiction.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah, because they're made of inferior paper.
Oh, really?
That's where it comes from.
That's where Pulp Fiction comes from.
Yeah,
Wow.
indeed.
The more you know at the GPL.
I know in the past time, it's like in these spots, he's kind of just been limping close to 100%, maybe folding bottom 10. So I'm going to take like a hand like 6-4. That just is pretty weak and almost never going to win post flop. Just try to bluff him pre.
Just as he says that, he does
Now
flop
we have
best.
3 times the pot and like fairly awkward spot with middle pair. Yeah, start by checking. I mean, I think with my size and pre and whatnot, there's somewhat decent chance he puts me on.
Great to see
side
Tom
check hands
engaging
on
with the
flop.
audience.
And,
Sam,
on the turn, I'm just gonna bet. I don't know if this is the turn that he's gonna be bluffing super frequently, and my hand's just so vulnerable.
usually someone who's very understated, not necessarily someone who's...
Where he 3-bet and then checked the flop with air and then bet the turn. And this feels like a similarly line. But I really just don't have a good enough hand here. I have so many better hands to call this turn bet with. I don't know.
Busquet trying to solve the riddle that is Tom Marchese. Never easy.
He is
I
suspicious.
just think he could have like some pretty weak hands here.
Does elect to make the good
I
fold.
don't know. You see me like always just
Have
calls
some better
quickly with the
kings.
draw of that kind and whatnot. He might have just thought I had a hand that he could buff me off of, which I did. But yeah, weird spot. That's kind of what happens when you play
Another-
6-4 as a raise
Another
out of
favorable
position.
flop for the
He's
cheese,
going to be in a bunch of like real tough spots to play.
but not a good
man.
turn. Olivier
Just think 'cause
improves.
my kicker, this is a check. I don't know though. I mean, I'm gonna have a lot of draws here to bet on the turn.
With him having a bit more than 3x the pot, I just didn't want to bet and face a jam when he could have so many draws, or potentially even just like 6-7 or 7-8 hands, just trying to realize their equity. So I'm just checking it down, and on this river, I mean, I don't feel like super excited about getting value from worse, but
This hand,
I feel kind of weird to value bet it. I mean, he could
make
have
it
a 5.
polarized between a 9+ and a steal.
Busquet indicating he can go big on this river and does overbet, putting Tom Marchese's actual hand in a world of hurt.
So sick. Mental gymnastics for Tom Marchese. He reflected on Twitter after his match.
Look at this. He looks
how
like
it was so exhausting playing Busquet for 3 matches.
a French philosopher glancing out of his window.
It's frustrating.
They both kind of look like philosophers, don't they?
Marchese so comfortable if Busquet bets 3 or
I'm gonna
4K
give it to him.
and does make a big, big fold.
7 or a 5 or something. I'm not sure.
Cold calling his hand. It's par for the course.
I don't feel too good about that one, but just because it's one of the stronger hands, I check down, and then I just end up folding the river to his bet. But at the same time, when I start thinking of what I'd expect him to potentially be bluffing with, there'd be a lot of maybe like jack high and 10 high hands. And a lot of those have some equity on the turn that he might consider bluffing the turn with.
2 big hands here. Tom might end up shoving for these
so-
14 big blinds.
Just to not really play into Olivier's game, like you could just properly open shove a lot of these hands. I'm just gonna do that.
The jacket's going back on.
Busquet calls with the 7s and Marchese instantly spikes the king.
This is trouble for the LA Sunset superstar.
3 points heading in the direction
game.
of the Big Cheese and the New York Rounders.
Flip to get the first one.
First
Yeah,
blood
really just
to
got
Marchese.
hit in the face with the deck that match. Which It's a nice feeling after.
A lot of perspective there from Tom Marchese, of course, knowing that, you know, the card distribution was in his favor in that match, but both showing such class. It's so evident that they always know sort of where they're at, and it's just it's such a treat.
Yeah, it's so exciting to see the way these guys construct their ranges. You know, poker used to be thought of as all about aggression.
Yep.
These guys so careful in the way they craft their check back ranges, the sizings they pick, breaking down their thought process for us.
Definitely.
You know, for hardcore poker fans, and I hope for new poker fans, it's an absolute delight.
Yeah, Olivier Busquet not able to get the first 3 points. You know, he has a sort of an MVP candidacy thing to be concerned about. I mean, you look at Jason Lavallee, he has now won, what is it, 7 heads-up matches in a row. There's a lot of guys that are storming the front here. Nanonoko with a sweep yesterday as well. So he's really going to have to string together his last 2 matches.
As we knew we would be, we're completely blessed here at the GPL with a whole host of poker talent.
Yeah.
Among them is Tom Marchese, putting up another 3 points for the New York Rounders. What a selection he was as a second-round draft pick for them.
Yeah, New York Rounders, Bryn Kenny opting to make some excellent draft picks, maybe outside of Kevin McPhee so far with the way he performed in that first set of matches. But drafting his brother was such a surprise, how successful he's been in the 6-max format. Obviously, Jason Wheeler showing to be such a great character, such a well-rounded team. But in tough with the likes of the Montreal Nationals and the LA Sunset. Feder Holtz, Olivier Busquet, LA's looking great.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And it's so great that we've got 2 more matches to come with these guys. You know, you could watch this kind of stuff all day, particularly as they've been very, very generous with breaking down the thoughts. We knew we were going to get that from Olivier Busquet. Marchese really embracing the GPL more and more.
Yes,
each time
I
we
love
see
that.
Him, excuse me, each time we see him on camera, shares more and more, showing more and more of the personality.
Really embracing it.
Loving the big cheese these days. Absolutely
sure.
loving it. I think we are going to be ready to get to the match.
Let's do it. Let's
Lot
go,
of
guys.
excitement.
Match 2.
Marchese clambering back into his chair.
Alrighty, let's do it again.
Oops. Let me just get this untangled. Well, alright. Let's see. Back at it at the start here. Yeah, it's pretty crazy how many times I flop trips at this point. I mean, this is the 3rd time, and maybe I've seen 20 flops. Hopefully I run this well the rest of the week, because this is a big week for poker for me and for a lot of the high stakes tournament players in the world. Tomorrow is pretty much the start of our summer, as there's a 50K at Aria, and then Sunday is the biggest buy-in tournament of the summer, a 300K buy-in, so
Wow.
Yeah.
hopefully saving some of this run good for this. 7-4 suited, I'm gonna 3-bet it. In all these heads-up matches I've played, my strategy's been mostly to like 3-bet a lot of these like small suited cards and small connected cards that I haven't wanted to like call open with. I think that's like borderline whether or not you could call or fold. So then I've just turned those into the hands I want to bluff with. I'm gonna bet here on the flop. There's a lot of turns I could consider barreling on. If I turn a 7 or heart, pairs obviously work out well as well. I'm never too excited to consider 3-betting hands like this, because it's just going to be dominated by so many of the hands he continues with. So I'd rather be 3-betting cards that are like suited or connected and lower, where I'm like folding out a bunch of hands that dominate me, rather than having like Jack 10 call when I have Jack 4 and things don't work out well most of the time.
Marchese breaking it down for us, explaining how he constructs his pre-flop 3-betting ranges. See what he does with King 9. This very, very marginal.
King 9, yeah. I think if I had King 10, I would
Be dominated.
like call 3-bet and see what happens. But in our matches, Olivier hasn't been overly 3-betty, so I probably let him get away with a bit more than I should in terms of like not peeling many 3-bets.
Gin Daddy for Tom Marchese here. Top set. The Nuttas.
Yeah, and Marchese
I'm
with
gonna
a
check call
3
here.
straight
Top
and
set,
a club in
3
his
bets
hand.
bet.
Busquet, you mean?
having 2 8s,
Sorry.
it's just hard for him to have much. And maybe I could pick up a turn that it's good for me to get value on.
Not going to be one of them.
Well, this is a pretty good one.
Pretty good for the strength of Tom's hand, but not for the barreling hands that Olivier might have. If he had turned maybe a 10 or a jack or a 6, even a 5, he might have fired with this 7-9 off. But with the deuce, he's going to be shutting down a
For
ton.
me, it's just a give up spot.
Marchese deciding whether to check
Really sure what
and
to
go
do
for a check
here.
raise
I don't
or to
want
bet.
I just don't know how often he's like betting the flop with an ace and checking back that turn. And obviously he's gonna think I'm like pretty ace heavy, so I'm just gonna bet it myself.
Yeah, I mean, he could be easily bluffing, but nothing I can do.
Busquet getting away for pretty much the minimum there. Very fortunate turn
Yeah,
card, as you
6,
said,
okay.
Griff.
Yeah, he was bluffing pre, but he made a 6.
Tom Marchese electing the 3-4 off, taking it down.
If you're joining us just now, earlier today we saw Faraz Jaka win 2-1 against Zhao Bauer. Jason Lavallee sweeping Ansi Zeno 3-0.
In
Big
emphatic
hand, but I don't
fashion.
really want to be putting in that much money on the flop. Kind of just like see a turn, hope for a good turn, and see
Really
where it
interesting
goes.
bet sizing here from Busquet. What do you think about
so-
this, Sam?
Well, you definitely want to be betting bigger on coordinated texture, so I like it.
Not a card.
I mean, maybe even bigger, but yeah. And runs out great for Marchese.
Busquet, a wry sort of sad smile, knowing that he's not beating much here.
Maybe I could.
Really not beating anything once he checks.
Just tough when you have like a
4
full house
sevens.
there, and literally everything gets there. So you're not expecting him to call with too many hands, but maybe he'll decide to bluff. He has ace-6 or a 6 in his hand, like where he flopped that low end of an open ender, and nothing got there.
Wow,
But
disaster here
didn't
for
work out,
Busquet.
so.
Top 2 pair for Marchese
I don't
with
think
the
I was getting
Dow.
called by that either,
K9.
though.
Busquet with top pair and a backdoor flush draw.
Marchese obligated to put in more chips with this holding, and that's going to make
Poker's pretty easy
Busquet
when
feel
you're
even
just,
better
like,
about his hands.
Flopping top 2 everywhere. This is a really great turn because I think he's gonna just play pretty straightforward versus bet on it, and I mean he's obviously gonna have a deuce once in a while, but I still think I have a 3 street hand, so I want to bet again and hope to get a good river.
Not too many draws out there. Busquet, looking concerned, does call the turn.
Yeah, and he definitely can find a fold in this river.
Pretty safe river.
Marchese looking for value with top 2 pair. Has to work through his sizing.
I'm gonna bet about 60% pot here.
Breaking down how many value combos and how many bluff combos he gets to this river with. And does fire.
Yeah, against a lot of players, I think this would be well, I would say a little bit more of a straightforward fold.
Yeah, Olivier recognizing right away, gotta let this one go.
It's an interesting bet size choice. It's not going for very big. The converse of that is that, I'm getting a better price, but the problem is that Tom would probably value bet at least King Jack plus, if not King 10. Obviously King 9 and a deuce, 9s, aces. It's a lot of hands. And the bluffs that make sense are straight draws that miss, but there aren't too many of those. Guess it's just a fold, but
Busquet not happy
good
about
at
it,
king.
but does have top pair. Think if you remember the first match, Busquet did think Marchese's bluffing frequencies were a little bit out of line, meaning he had a bit too many bluffs to value combos. But Busquet makes another very good fold. Feeling a little bit run over, but sticking to his ranges. The ranges have served him so well in the
Olivier
GPL
has only gotten away
and
from a lot of
Stars.
big hands so far versus me. Which is oftentimes really hard when your opponent's just like running as well as I've been running, because I've just been able to bet multiple streets so many times, and where if you're not seeing my cards, you're gonna think I'm probably just like bluffing a lot, but really I've just had it in almost every spot. Here's another hand that I'm just gonna play as a 3-bet.
This will not go through. Olivier Busquet certainly going to be stuffing it in there.
I think this is just an all-in, to be honest. Little hesitant, but
Marchese, of course, immediately releases the small
don't love it
players.
there, but
Don't flop well, play a lot better as
it's a
an
hand that
all-in
has
pre.
decent equity when called. Doesn't have the
Admiral
enough
Akbar.
implied odds flopping a set.
Tom is going to be
So.
sad in about 2 seconds. Oh, never mind.
Right, here he 3-bets me and I have aces, and I'm just gonna call. I mean, I'm almost always just gonna call with aces when we're at like a 40 to 50 big blind stack depth, and I get 3-bet. I mean, I'm just blocking a lot of the hands that he's stacking off with, and obviously I have all of his bluffs in really bad shape, so.
Tom
I flop top set.
nailing this board.
It's actually probably a bad thing. I mean, you're usually hoping more for just like a low flop with a draw on it.
Busquet does continue. In general, in this spot, he
And
should
on a board
have
like
the
this,
stronger
it's pretty hard to get
ace-X.
action. I mean, I'm gonna call and see where it goes.
Now,
If he checks the
Marchese
turn, I'm just gonna check back. I mean,
doesn't
we have a little
slow
bit
play
over
ace-king
pot
too
behind,
much.
and I think most of the time, if he checks the turn, he just has a hand that has no outs. So there's no real reason to me betting. And if he does have a good hand, I should get all of it on the river anyway.
Busquet is considering firing another bullet. Marchese doesn't slow play ace-king or ace-queen too much, so Busquet's range so much stronger on the board. But in this case,
call
drawing
again.
dead.
I mean, I think that's what I'd be pretty likely to do with draws and things like that. And I don't really know if he's too likely to be betting this amount of his stack with the draw. He's probably pretty likely to just have a big hand or just like something that has very little equity. Maybe like a gutter at best. So, all right, I call. Hopefully no spade on the river.
And that's a terrible river
not
for
a good card.
both of them in a lot of
Pretty
ways.
unlikely to get buffed on this river.
Exactly.
And the
Olivier
9 gets
Busquet
there, and
is not going to
I
be
didn't
shoving
have
that
a lot
over.
of the traditional equity-based barrels, but I don't think I need to. My range is so strong, and I just don't have that many flush or straight draws based on my 3-betting range. But this card is particularly bad. He could have had a stubborn 9, and he's not worried about his kicker on his ace anymore. At the same time, he knows that I'm unlikely to bluff this card, but he might not matter. If he just has a hand like ace-8 or ace-10 or something, he might just be like, well, now I chop with ace-queen, so I have to call anyway. He doesn't have too many non-showdown hands. This is so frustrating to give up.
Olivier does elect to give up.
Shitty.
Yeah, and Tom knows.
Tom deciding whether he can
unlikely
just
to get
bet
paid
a
off.
big blind.
Yeah, I was going to say he should min bet just as a troll.
I'm just gonna shove anyway. I mean,
Yeah, so hard to get called now.
maybe he gets stubborn or something. Oops.
Busquet
I wonder
out
if he would
on
do
a
this with
limb.
an ace. I guess he would. I don't know. I don't know why he would. I feel like he might check an ace.
Oh,
So
boy.
this is a 9. I guess.
Olivier.
Olivier, mate, come on,
Thinking about
bruv.
the
You
7,
got
8,
10
and
high,
6,
bruv.
7.
I don't know as much about poker as you, geezer, but you can't call here. Wow, I thought he was going to call with 10 high
Yeah.
then. Beat 7, 8 of spades.
7, 8, 6, 8.
Please.
Oh, Olivier. Breaking it down, but
Man.
in bad shape.
Obviously a good result in a real big pot, but I was really hoping that you somehow get a run out that you could get all of it on.
16 big
I'm
blinds
gonna
for Olivier
bluff here.
Busquet.
I have a gut shot, and I mean, he could have some worse queen highs, I mean, some better queen highs and king highs that I'd like him to fold out. If he calls, he'll probably continue on like a 7, 8, 9.
That's a good card.
I'm just gonna give up here. I mean, it's probably a reasonable spot to value bet if you have a jack, but I just don't know how well I'm gonna do at getting him off a 6 or 5 when I'm repping so thin on this river. I haven't really gotten a great feel for how Olivier plays and these limped pots. I mean, other than the fact that he just wins every one. But
Little tip of the cap there to Olivier, despite winning that first match and
it's not
having him
limp this
dominated
hand. I don't
8-2
feel that
in
comfortable
chips
with
here.
raise calling it, but
I guess we say 4
if
to
he
1.
shoves
don't we?
and just not call it off, I think he's not shove all aces here. So
He is
a
correct,
lot
but
of like
the ace
king
that he
high and
has
Broadway type hands. So
is extremely strong.
let's see what happens. Oh no, he's just got the ace queen.
Marchese holding on the flop. And
Yeah,
turning
one bet.
Marchese dead to a chop.
All right, we got life.
Busquet right back in this thing.
Back at it again.
40 big blinds now. The first match, as you can see on the bottom, went to, we never get tired of saying it, the big cheese, Tom Marchese. 3 points secured, 4 rounders.
And we're back almost even.
Who started the day just a slither ahead of LA Sunset in the
I thought
standings,
ace six suited,
second to LA Sunset's third.
It's a spot where I'm always gonna call off with it, but God, it really feels like you're gonna be dead a lot. You're just hoping to see some worse aces and maybe like king 8 suited and hands like that. Or if you just not like shove king queen,
Love me some 8, 9 of
seems
diamonds,
somewhat
bro.
likely if he's also shoving.
Olivier opting to 3
Instead
bet
of
here.
raising.
Could be a 3 to 5 situation.
45.
Could be a 3 bet to call 4 bet. Doubt he's ever 3 bet folding this particular holding unless it's facing a shove, which is super unlikely at this stack depth.
Man, I was already counting the money. The 2-0 start. That would have assured me a win today, but it's all right. We're still in a good spot here.
Tom was excited about counting some GPL bucks.
Yeah, so hard to close out someone like Busquet.
Have you ever seen the
who
GPL
plays
bucks, by the way?
Short stacks so well.
Call and all in with. I don't love it, but I think it plays so well post, and I think he will call a decent amount of these 3 bets, even at the stack depth.
Deja vu here for Tom Marchese. Jack deuce suited, the same suit.
I've been wrong since he's folded to all of them, but I'm not sure what hands he's
Same
folding.
sizing of the open,
probably take
same
a look at them
sizing
and
of the
see.
3 bet. Wow, huge cooler here between Busquet and Tom Marchese. Would really be interested to see if Marchese opts to 3 to 5 with
This
this.
would be a great game dynamic spot to 4 bet.
just gonna call. Like,
There we
since
go.
things have been going bad, I got like the urge to just 3-bet
He's
call
getting
it off.
flats,
But
and I get a bad
it's probably
flop.
pretty bad with 6s, and I think I'd want something more like 8s plus or 9s plus to want to do that.
Well, that's a terrible card. I don't even think
I'm
that
just
card is
gonna,
worth betting now.
like a king high or something like that. I'm just good against.
Value there.
Marchese, with a sigh of
And
relief
I
that
guess
he
I
didn't
could've
elect to
still bet.
3-bet the 6s.
Yeah.
I guess I kind of avoided one there. If I had no self-control, I would have probably just doubled him up.
So these stacks, if Marchese picks up the blinds here, pretty much dead even after 24 hands, 600, 1200. Both players, 40 big blinds, 2 top poker talents. As, you know, we continue to reiterate that, but it is, you know,
Yeah.
really awesome to have 2 guys at this level battling it out with
For
hard
sure.
cards exposed.
For sure.
I'm just gonna fold this.
Yeah, tough few hands here. Marchese does flop best here. Busquet actually going to bet the ace-king for some value and protection. Can get called by worse ace-highs.
Does have the backdoor nut flush draw as well.
Two-way bet.
Very interesting card here.
It's an interesting card because it's good for both of us. I mean, it's, you know, it's overall decent, you know, good card for his range, but gives me the nut flush draw and 2 overs, and I am not
Out of hand as I could have.
one to pass up an
But
opportunity.
instead,
to
he
barrel
bets
with the
again,
nut
so
flush draw.
we'll just fold it.
Busquet applies pressure on the turn and gets Marchese
Yay.
off
All the
his
momentum.
pair.
Good flop for cheese here. Open-ended for Busquet.
Alright. Well, it's a really nice spot now when you turn this.
Marchese selecting his sizing
He's soiling.
on a very wet
Just because I
board.
think he'll check back a bunch of hands on the flop. So when he bets the flop, I think his range is relatively strong, and his willingness to continue his frequency of continuation is relatively high. And this card, I think, is a little bit better for him than it is for me. Some people interpret the top card as being better for the check caller, but I don't. In today's game, people are checking back a lot of second and third pairs, and so top pair makes up a decent percentage of the value range of a continuation bet in position.
Busquet is available for coaching at like 2K an hour.
Yeah.
Or you could just get it here. Busquet with a vulnerable 2-pair. Marchese with king high.
Boards.
So yeah, I think this is the board. You see bets with most of his bad hands, so I have king high. I'm gonna continue with it. Well, king high turns into 2 pair, so I'm gonna call at least once more.
Drawing Busquet.
Yeah, I don't even think it's that interesting, to be honest. Oh, he had pocket aces. I was actually thinking a full house could be possible. That was a nice play by Tom. I mean, every hand he plays well. So that 9 saved me, I guess. That would have been funny, just like blasting into his top set. That would have been. He called pretty fast, so this is check and hope that I. Oh, he had an 8. That's an unfortunate turn card.
Chris Moneymaker just tweeted on Twitter. Sorry guys, stream keeps dropping. Is the stream the Las Vegas Moneymakers? Gotten swept today by the Montreal Nationals.
Big bet if you're just betting for protection, but
And that Queen Deuce versus King 8 has swung the match pretty much in the favor of Marchese, chip-wise. 2-1 almost in chips.
Get some chips back.
he's gonna keep raising. Even though it's kind of frustrating when you get shoved down, but just trying not to play into his strengths too much. I'd rather just make it an all-in fest or playing reasonable ranges than.
Edges so
Someone
small
grinded out
between
match
people
at
that are
this
used to
point.
having massive edges, Sam.
Close. Between limp, calling a raise but folding to a jam, and min raise and calling an all-in, which I would have called an all-in if he went all-in there.
Marchese
On
turning
this flop,
an
I definitely
open-ended
could have
straight
bet
draw.
king spades. There are a lot of turn cards that I can call on. The 8 of hearts.
I think there's a lot. It's not really a hand that's strong enough that you want to like check call a 3/4 pot bet or anything.
Busquet now in a tough spot with the King-Queen. 2 flush draws and a host of straight draws out there,
I really hate this situation.
but a flimsy
Gonna have,
bluff
like, a
catcher
half-time spot left on the river if he calls, so
does let it
consider
go.
shoving on
Such
spades
poor
or
visibility
queen
on so
cards
many
like that.
rivers. Marchese 1-0 up. Last time these guys met, Olivier Busquet won 2 games to 1.
Actually, be an open shove here with the stack depth, but got a pretty favorable flop. And he calls.
Ace high board, so good for the limper because they have all the strong aces. And Busquet with just a gut shot.
Then kind of get a tough turn where
Wow, goes for
All right.
an overbet,
bet.
applying maximum
bluffing
pressure on a board which is so favorable
That
for
type
his
of board
range.
is good for overbetting with a bunch of weak hands and then some strong hands. Just it's a spot where you can really attack his range.
but when he's betting that amount, it kind of appears to be more like a combo draw if he is bluffing compared to just like a bluff bet fold.
Motown no good for Olivier.
I don't know how I want to play this. This is a weird one. I mean, I could just shove it profitably, which is probably kind of a reasonable way to do it.
And it will come down to a flip. Oh, Busquet.
I think his willingness to do this with hands like King 9 just make this a call, but would much rather have like 5s
not the
or
highest
even
that you
4s, but I don't know. I think this is slightly profitable, so against Tom, I have to take it.
Busquet is flipping.
Man,
Spikes the king again.
Ooh, good flop.
Heart gives Busquet a flush draw.
Some life.
Fold.
There's a pulse. The 3,
Wow.
the
Flat out on the
unexpected
river.
winner.
The crab
Fair's
on the
fair.
river.
The crab in the river sounds better. You know?
But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of
is
just
life.
okay with spots like
Busquet
that.
with
I
a
have
2-1
those
chip
hands,
lead.
so it's all right.
Busquet commenting that Marchese's shove was a little on the light side. A hand some players would choose to limp, but Marchese as
Something
he
like weights again
articulated,
takes away
wanted to
from
make this
the
quite a
actual
high
strategy
variance
you're trying to
contest.
build, but
I actually think his willingness to jam those hands at that stack depth just shows a little bit of unwillingness to play post flop at the stack depth, with I think is a slight,
hit the board like this unless he has a king.
slightly exploitable.
I just don't know if he's gonna like min raise
Strategy.
like hands like Jack 10, things like that, where he's just gonna treat them as like a fold if he gets action. It's just tough. He bets small. I'm just gonna call and see what happens on the turn.
Bingo, bango, bango.
Yeah, so
Bad
it's
card.
turn attack.
A lot of bad cards.
Second pair, so favorable for the check caller, as
Think of this
Busquet
out
checks
weird.
back a decent amount of his 10x.
It makes sense to lead small here with some like, hands that you just don't want to let free card roll off with, like a 9. Or they've had like a gut shot, so. And, I think it's a turn that otherwise he's just like checking back so often.
Just destroys this board. I mean, really destroys this board.
Wow, a little Zeno-esque
It's like
from
all
Marchese.
Jack 10, Queen 10, Queen Jack. But this
I mean, you
is
throw
just, like,
you throw
one of
sunglasses
those-
on him, you
one
kind
the
of
very,
could
very
pull
weak
off Zeno.
parts of that range. So gotta fold it. And see, so I think he understands that he's not limping those medium strength hands. So he doesn't want to limp his weak hands either. And he doesn't really want to limp his strong hands, not that many of them, because he needs to have some strong hands in his jamming range too.
Busquet, break it down how the way you play one part
So
of
he's
your
doing a lot
range
of limp
affects
or
other
jamming,
parts of
which
your range.
can work.
Mar-
This lead. Just so many no equity spots.
Yeah, Olivier recognizing that he is not running good.
Getting a lot of bad hands on the button. I don't mind just giving him walks at this point when, I mean, there's pretty much 40 big blinds total in play.
and Olivier Busquet with a big holding,
I'm just gonna shove
The
this.
jacket is going back on, Sam.
and Marchese all in and behind.
Trapped.
Busquet,
Looks like he's gonna get game 2 unless I get some sort of absurd run out.
Positivity in the universe. Another 3 on the river.
Lucky to be 1-1.
Nope,
I'll say
he
that.
gave me the sweat there.
levels things up,
All right.
3 points
On to match
apiece.
3.
These guys are so damn good. So damn good.
sure.
Griffin Benger, Sam Grafton.
Hey, guys.
That was Thomas Marchese and Olivier Busquet. Incredible showcase of talent here at the GPL in the final match of the first 8-week mini saga here at the Global Poker League before we take things to Vegas.
Great way to finish things with these
Yep.
two guys.
What happens in Malta moves to Vegas and then stays there until it comes back. Great showcase so far. 1-1. New York Rounders representative Marchese playing phenomenal as usual. Olivier Busquet, really, as you mentioned, lucky he feels like to get out of there alive with that win. Obviously, he was all in for his tournament life with the pocket threes. So, yeah, just he's grateful that he's not going to get swept, and now he's looking to win this match and really get back into that MVP conversation. I mean, he's in there, of course,
I mean,
but
two top poker talents, as we keep saying. I think it's interesting, though, if there is a small leak in either of their games.
Yeah.
Perhaps, as Busquet identifies, Marchese way less familiar with what to do with 10 big blinds and 20 big blinds. Obviously, Marchese, someone that earns his crust in high-stakes cash games, live high-stakes cash games, where often stacks 100, 200, 300 big blinds deep. In these big tournaments, the Super High Roller Bowl coming up, the Area 25Ks, again, stack depths, 50, 60, 70 big blinds. Busquet, used to playing in the heads-up sit-and-go format, has crafted ranges specifically to deal with having 10 big blinds, 20 big blinds, how to play your king highs, how to sneak in there with your 5-6s, balancing strong hands with weaker hands.
Yeah.
And That's the only difference really
Yeah,
between these
and
guys.
to be clear, Tom Marchese is probably still better than, probably even 80-90% of the players in the GPL at that stack depth. But against Olivier Busquet, he is the master. He is the end boss of this 10-20 big blind stack depth. And as he remarked, this is why he felt he had to call with the threes, because it was just a tiny little edge, and it's so hard to get them against a guy like Cheddar Bob.
And Marchese even admitting themselves, he's looking to ramp up the variance when stack sizes get short, shoving with the King 7 of clubs. But the problem with that is when you're shoving such a wide range of hands, your limping range becomes so weak. You end up having to fold some junky hands because you haven't got enough medium strength hands to balance it, or enough slow pace to balance out your limping hands. Really, over the course of these 8 weeks, learning so much about heads up, sit and goes.
Yes. Are we going to be heading to the third match very soon?
I think we are going to be getting to the third match. These guys looking for further 3 points, jostling for second place in the American Conference.
Love it. Let's jostle.
Where are these cards?
Game 3. I haven't really been watching too much of the stream. I'm hoping that I haven't run that well in the non-all-in portion of these games, because otherwise I'm being outplayed pretty hard. But, this is a good flop, and Tom is an extremely talented player, so if you're going to be outplayed by anyone, let's hope it's by the best.
Yeah, such respect between these two guys, both for their
have something, Tom. Let's make it a quick game,
GPL.
buddy.
And, of course,
solid card
in the GPL. Busquet will bet again for value, and Marchese
insta-fold. Snap.
Releasing the ace high.
Excuse me.
This is going to be hard to make me fold.
What's that?
Not a lot of runouts that I'm going to fold on.
Marchese does
Jack.
see bet the queen high. And that is a turn card, which he is going to be very incentivized to barrel, turning the wheel draw.
Maybe 3-4.
Bet 3/4 pot on the turn and probably bet something similar on the river. This is pretty good turn overall.
Skate taking his time before calling this turn. Perhaps checking the stream for something. And Marchese arriving at the river with just queen high.
Yeah. So it's quite the brick on the river. But, we're just going to follow through for 12,000. If you start thinking like hands I'm likely to be bluffing the spot, it's just hands that contain like a 4 or like 6-7 or 7-8 or maybe like turn spades. So I don't have like tons of bluffs considering all the hands I could have, and it feels like his hand is mostly weighted towards like a 9. He could have maybe like 5 of spades or something like that as well.
Marchese firing the river, and Busquet calls.
Yeah.
Off to a great start.
Well, there you go.
Marchese a little bit deflated by the outcome of that hand. Obviously, when you get snapped on a river, it's always makes you question whether it was a good bluff or not.
For sure.
I think he probably had to fire with that combo. Probably better to bet that queen 4 than spade combos.
Great 3-1 chip edge here early on for Olivier. Olivier Busquet.
Oh,
That's
it's a good
almost
check
done.
anyway.
Yeah, I'm just gonna check this
Oh,
down.
nice, nice.
Hope I win. Probably lose. So
Go
better
for
king high
value,
or ace
Tom.
high a lot.
Have something. God. Now that I think about it, I don't. Maybe I was a little distracted. Maybe I should have just bet the river there. I don't know if he would have called with king high, but I don't know. I think it's fine to check.
Not getting action here would be somewhat frustrating, but
Marchese with the butchers will pump it up.
Busquet with the peelers, maybe? Pretty hand.
5 and the 8.
6-8, we know he's in there. 5-8, getting a little dicey.
Lets it go.
Discipline fold by the one they call Liv B on the internet's pokers.
okay.
Great flop here for the defense by Olivier. Discipline check back by Cheese.
This card is in a lot of his check back range, so I think it makes sense to check. And I just think he's got a king a lot.
Don't want to lose this on queen
just
high.
go.
I can get him off if it checks all the way down, but wouldn't really feel the need to bluff with it. Jack high.
Big flop here for Marchese. Gonna get a little value here with the bet.
Calls again, and then a king comes. Yeah, no thanks. Maybe he'll check and let me take half of this pot, but I doubt it.
Marchese with the boat.
Paid off on, but
Two games played, 1 game apiece. Each match worth 3 points.
The rubber match, mate. Rubber butter.
Would be kind of, you got to feel for Marchese if he gets beaten here again.
Yeah.
If he loses 2 matches to Busquet, such a contributor to the contest between
yeah,
these two guys.
Absolutely.
Last couple games, trying to think about what I could get him to fold on the
I
flop
don't really
here.
believe in timing tells that much, but I heard Tom say something in the last game about the time. Well, he checked instantly. That's awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna try to go for value here. Yeah, Tom said something about some. I went all in fast, and that made my range in his mind. He just folds instantly. Who is this guy? He's like a wizard.
It's Thomas Marchese.
He said that made my range like more likely to be ace action pairs in an all-in spot, and I thought that was not true, but that maybe I could exploit his inclination to believe in timing tells. It's like if someone believes. Well, that's not going to do it.
Busquet recognizes there's a few things you don't want to give away.
Well, if I didn't call with 5-8 suited, I'm probably going to fold 4-8 suited, and same exact spot.
This
Tom
time,
just eating me up.
Marchese doesn't have it. Going for a bluff with the 6-7 off. Seen a lot of that from Marchese, 5-6 off as well.
Yep.
He seems to pick those combos. See if Olivier Busquet reciprocates with his 7-6 off. Marchese opting for a 3x on this occasion.
More junk flops.
Marchese with no real equity against the strongest parts of Busquet's range now. Probably gonna have to shut down.
It's not like making as many hands. It's kind of trying to play consistently, like decent, and I don't think I've necessarily done a great job of that here. I'm gonna bluff the river just because I made it here, and I think a jack completes a lot of hands. So it's not about 2/3 pot.
Man, that is surprising. It's like one of those spots, you know, where a lot of the hands that would have a jack in them would be natural barreling hands, Jack 8, Jack 10, maybe a King Jack or something like that. But he knows that, so I don't think he would try to rep this jack necessarily. I think two things are possible. One, he's just rivered a jack with a non-equity based hand, like a Jack 5 of diamonds. He checked back a queen, a weak queen, or even a hand like King Jack with the Jack of Hearts on the turn. Or some medium queen, like Queen 7 or something. Or he could just be bluffing too. I don't know. I think I check back. I check on the river a bunch of 9s, and I have some.
Busquet,
traps.
so suspicious.
I don't know. Not sure about that one.
Marchese going for a bet check bet line there. Olivier Busquet showing he has poker instincts as well as well-crafted ranges.
I got there. And on top of that, he had like a 9 or worse, which is a pretty serious parlay to get away with that bad bet mistake.
I have nothing again.
Here,
can we go back a few weeks to when I was like making hands in the GPL?
Olivier, of course, reflecting on all the early success he had.
That. And as is, I bet 2/3 pot.
You got it, buddy. Okay.
I'm just gonna fold.
Almost 2-1 chip advantage for Busquet. Defends the Queen 10.
I'm check back here. I haven't been c-betting a ton, and I don't think this hand's really good enough to get 3 streets of value with, but works out really well as a 2-street bluff catcher, or 2 streets of value at this point.
So Marchese will look to get some value with the Jack 3, and Busquet has the perfect hand for that.
It's a little bit of a tough river, but
Amazing how evenly matched these guys are. As you can see, Tom is going to at least get up to 42,000 chips here, maybe even more with a big bet.
Waited more
Any bet that gets called.
Just with 3 10s versus 2 6s left, and I think he might be more likely to.
This is a tough spot. I don't like this spot at all. He is betting almost the exact amount to bring us to even. I wonder if that is a coincidence. If he had bet 85-20, that would have been funny. I still kind of don't think that's a coincidence. It's almost like I can call and still be up or have chips. But, you know, who knows with Tom. It's just such a weird card, you know? Maybe he just has a weak jack that he checked back, you know?
Maybe he does.
I don't know. I really don't know. He's the kind of guy, though, that just goes for it in spots, too. Like, he really goes for it, consistently goes for it, which is what makes him so tough to play against, or part of it. Really just, I don't know. I don't know.
Busquet on the fence, but does make the right call. Folding the queen 10. Really cuspy decision with that holding.
Some of the scenarios that end up with me just getting stacked in that river.
So often when Busquet takes his time, he reaches the right decision.
Check from Marchese. They're allowing Busquet to catch up.
Probably check all. I mean,
The best kind of bets.
big. It's a big bet, but at the same time, I have a heart. You got her bear. So I have some outs when I'm behind most of the time.
So
I think it's
early in Las
else
Vegas,
for me to be ahead.
Tom Marchese like a sleepy lion. Rivers a flush.
Bunch of rivers.
Rivers a
This
straight
one is an
flush.
easy one. Ugh, gross, man.
Busquet bemoaning his
Don't
luck.
really think I could
Here we are again, back at even.
like that.
What a marathon.
I mean,
He's so tight calling 3-bets. I did not expect that from him. I think my 3-bet range has been super off. I've just been really wrong about some assumptions. 3-betting all these playable hands. I haven't gotten any like genuine premiums, but I should just be 3-betting my garbage hands. It's just never calling unless he has aces. Like this hand, except now it's like. That hand's really weak. I don't really like 3-betting total trash.
alright. I'm gonna 3-bet this one.
Marchese, suited 3-gapper. And picks an opportune moment because Busquet with a junky queen 7 into the bin. These guys level in chips. Level at 1 game apiece.
You know how Humuth always says, if luck wasn't involved, I'd win every time? If luck wasn't involved, these guys would play all night.
Alright. Let's see that half pot. It's just such a dry board. And I'm just gonna give up. There's so many draws out there, and I don't have one of them. So I don't feel that great about just deciding to make Jack-Eye triple with no equity.
Because Marchese's going to want to bluff his straight draws, club draws, and diamond draws. Doesn't fart with the Jack 3. And Busquet, counting out a value bet, goes for an overbet.
He's got it. Shit. Man, these matches are a real grind at times. I guess they've been on for
It ain't
almost
easy.
an hour and a half now, something like that. But
Okay.
Exhausting playing with the likes
I
of Olivier
like checking
Busquet.
back this particular hand.
Bad turn card.
Marchese doesn't bet it, checks it over to Busquet, who checks
Right,
again.
just gonna check down and hope that he did not hit something,
it's frustrating.
which he did. Lucky river, because I was calling a river bet.
Remind you guys, this is the last match of the first online portion of the
Here we
GPL.
go.
Olivier Busquet flopping the nuts.
See myself do anything on this one with folding.
The guys will be playing live in Vegas, heads-up matches each and every day, 6 days a week throughout the summer. Tune in for that. Busquet does start to employ his strategy of 3-betting wider.
Had relatively decent timing when we've been 3-betting. I mean, just in terms of there having that many like set up all in pre-flop hands.
Olivier does c-bet these boards at very high frequency, so much more favorable for the razor.
Check, but I think with backdoor clubs, I like betting.
Busquet has opened up a lead over Marchese. Marchese with 22 big blinds.
Come on, good cards.
Not good enough.
At 20 bigs, I actually like 3-bet calling this hand. I actually think he will call with some dominated hands. And it plays fine. It's like has fine equity when he jams. So, and
I
obviously
wonder if
I'll
that's
get a
just
bunch
like
of
bluff
folds
heavy
for
when he
these
goes to
trash
8,000
hands. This is really close. I don't mind min raise calling. I think it's really close.
Doing that too often, but he hasn't been.
Marchese with a pretty unorthodox lead.
Yeah, I think this is a call though, more than anything else. Not the card that I was looking for, but it's a card that I'll definitely have in my range. But I think I'll have some worse hands too, so I don't need to bet this particular hand at this point yet. Yeah,
Marchese
this is a card I think
spiking
now
a
that
pair.
I'll bet. Yeah, if he has a 10, I think it would be a mistake to call against my range. And if he has a king, it probably won't be the easiest spot. He'll probably find a call though. And if he just had some sort of weird gut shot or something.
Like 7-9.
I don't really know on that spot.
He probably has to
Start thinking
fold.
hands you could have.
Marchese is considering a call.
Is beating Jack 9, Queen Jack.
I mean, nines. Nah.
Marchese does block the 9x combo, Queen 9, Jack 9 type hands.
Marchese working things through and does fold. Busquet delaying his bet until the river and getting Marchese off his hand even when Marchese improves. And Busquet goes for the 3-bet again.
This is probably the one where he for sure has it, but whatever. Let's peel.
Wow.
So he
good for us.
finally does decide to call, and it's a flop that's good for his range, but I flop a flush draw. So I think check call is actually the best spot, best play here.
Busquet check calling, he says. The flush draw, really amazing. What will Busquet, what will Marchese do? He does shove.
He went all in. Oh, what a jerk. Really jerk move there, Tom.
Sick.
I was like, he makes the exact play you just don't want him to make.
So sick.
Yeah, so.
Not
good
beating
play.
anything there except worse flush draws.
I also think, though, that likely means that if I had made a bet, I would have committed myself and had to be all in with a 10-high flush draw against probably a hand that had me down to 9 out. So, you know, I did flop some equity there, but I don't make that play with a lot of hands. So I think it's fine.
Sam Grafton shaking his head, can't believe how good Olivier Busquet is at heads-up poker.
Like when I check there, my value hands are like queens and
First time I've ever seen you speechless, Sam.
Well, I mean,
and you know, maybe he had some equity against the same.
Think how tournament players that we play against every week play that spot. Like, do you think
they shove the flop or they bet call the flop?
Yeah,
or they check call all the all in. They ain't not folding flush draws.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So Marchese, with a good flop for his range and a flush draw, will bet. Busquet does still have a chip advantage.
My best hope is that he attacks with a weak hand and then folds, but instead he's going to go all in, and then I have to win another flip.
Damn.
4. Okay, not a bad flop.
More flips.
Low card. That's a good card. One more safe card. Wow.
No.
Bricks off.
Lucky me. Great games, Tom.
Good games, Olivier.
Tom Marchese defeated 2 games to 1. That means 6 points for the sunset.
The sun rises and the sun sets. Olivier Busquet losing the first match, being all in for his tournament life in the second, looking like it was going to be trouble for LA. Actually getting outflopped in that second match with the threes against, I believe it was King 7 or something like that. Backdooring and hitting a 3 on the river, and then coming back to win that third match. Whew. You know, exhausting to play. They were talking about how it's just such a grind. Of course, Tom saying both matches, like the last time they played before, saying how it was just mentally exhausting. And again, just even watching it, it's like, wow, the mental gymnastics, so fun to watch, Sam.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you need such intensity of focus when you're up against that kind of opposition. You know, it's absolutely intimidating for me to think that occasionally I'm going to have to face these guys in tournaments. Real, you know, commitment to their franchises, commitment to the game, both taking it super seriously, as you could see. And Busquet coming out on top.
Definitely.
He's won 2 games now against Marchese, but we should say Tom Marchese, a huge contributor to the entertainment value of those 2 matches.
Yeah, really engaging with the audience, with the fans. So fun to watch. Tom, someone I've mentioned before, maybe a little more understated, not necessarily someone who's throwing out training videos and
doesn't grab the
spending a lot of
limelight.
time. No, he's someone who's you know, about that money, about that competition, and right here just proved once again just an incredible selection. The strongest player in the New York round as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, sure. Tom Marchese, really strong. Obviously, did look to gamble a little bit more pre-flop and then didn't get, you know, wasn't on the right end of those flips. You know, up the variance when things got short stack, but it was Busquet who won the crucial flips, particularly that one at the end with the pocket 4s. Marchese could have checked the 9-8, committed himself pre-flop with it, was in a flip and run out cleanly for Busquet. That match could have gone either way. LA Sunset and Busquet, the beneficiary. Let's go over to Laura Cornelius in the lounge.
And every time,
the great man on the camera and for a chat.
Olivier.
Another win by Olivier Busquet for the LA Sunset. 2 games to 1 there. It was repeating history as before with Tom Marchese. Congratulations to Marchese, though, for picking up 3 points there and giving us a very entertaining game once again. Congratulations to both teams there. Olivier, we should have you there. Another match. We, in fact, thought it might go differently after game 1, but you managed to turn it around, and it was a very entertaining game. Can you hear me, Olivier? I don't think he can. Olivier, can you hear me? Olivier? Not sure if you can hear. I don't think he can hear me there, so we'll try and fix up the technical problems and get him in just 1 second. But of course, 6 points there for LA Sunset, which means I don't believe they'll climb up as high as Montreal Nationals as Jason Lavallee managed to clean sweep earlier on. He got 9 whole points against Anthony Zeno of the Las Vegas Moneymakers. We were talking about it though. Las Vegas desperately in need of those points. They were right down at the bottom of the table in 6th place there, and they remain there with 65 points. Moneymaker says it's a very live team he has. He's looking forward to Las Vegas, which will start on June the 6th, and hopefully they will be able to make some points up when we go live in Las Vegas. San Francisco rushed then with 69 points today. They were struggling a little bit too. Faraz Xhaka was playing for them, only able to pick up 3 points for his team. Against the Sao Paulo Mets, we saw Joao Bauer in action. He picked up 6 points today, taking them up to 82 points. And we have the New York Rounders in 3rd. Tom Marchese playing earlier in the... Well, we've just seen him. He picked up 3 points in that very first game of the 3 matchups between him and Olivier Busquet. Obviously, Liv B taking the 6 points. And he's played 6 heads-up matches now, and he's managed to win every single one of them except for last week against Felipe Ramos. Olivier, you can hear me now. Congratulations. We didn't think you were going to win that after the first one. It kind of was going in the way of Marchese in the early stages of the second match, and then you turned it all around phenomenally.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think I was going to win it either. I mean, there was like 2 different cards that came that would have turned it, or 2 different turns of a card that could have made it 2-0. I think if that 9 didn't come on the river, I probably would have bluffed into his pocket aces that flopped the set. And then obviously when I was all in with 3s and rivered the 3. So I got pretty lucky in the all-in phases in the 2nd and 3rd games. And, you know, against someone of Tom's caliber, you need to be lucky to be able to win.
Tom was actually saying he was tired. It was a bit of a grind. You ground him down.
You know, I felt the grind too. I think I don't know if Tom played a lot of scoop tournaments, but you know, I was playing a lot of poker for a lot of online poker for the last couple of weeks, and I was a little bit tired. And playing against someone as good as Tom, you just have to make sure you really don't make any mistakes. And yeah, it can be a grind because the matches are long, and if the all-ins kind of go in the way of the short stack, you just have to keep trying to eke out small edges here and there if you can find them. But so I hear what he's saying. I understand it. You
were bemoaning your luck a little bit there in that last game as well. How do you stay motivated when you just keep getting dealt junk all the time?
Yeah, I actually didn't feel like I was getting like unlucky. I just sometimes with the webcam feature, I'm kind of thinking out loud, and it's just I have this stream of consciousness to me sometimes where I didn't really think I was getting unlucky. I was just would rather be getting lucky than not, obviously. So sure. In general, staying motivated is not a thing that I really focus on because I'm just incredibly competitive naturally. And ever since I started playing poker, I've been super motivated to play all the time and to try to play well and to try to win in every situation. So that's something that I think I'm a little bit fortunate in the sense that I don't have to make a special effort to do. There are other parts to my game that don't come as naturally, and I have to make an extra effort to kind of be better at those.
Well, we saw you pick up a nice win in the scoop just last week, and nice holiday it looked like you're having as well. Tell us a bit more about that. Did you climb the Duns River Falls?
No, actually, I was with my girlfriend, Samantha Abernathy, and we went on one activity. We went horseback riding, and then the horses went in the water, and we went in the water. But we didn't have that was fun, but we weren't a big fan of the way it was organized, so we didn't do too many other activities through the hotel. And she wasn't playing scoops, but I was, so. She spent a little bit more time outside and doing stuff with some friends that were with us, but I was spending a little bit more time playing. It was a great time. We had an amazing, amazing time. And the weather was really great. It rained sometimes, but it only rains for like 20 or 30 minutes and then it stops. So we had an awesome time. And I'm happy to be home, but I'm also excited for the World Series to start. I'm excited for the live phase of GPL, and I'm excited for actual World Series events too. I'm feeling as confident as I ever have in my poker game. I think the whole experience of training and fighting has rejuvenated me in terms of poker and in terms of my the way I've studied poker and how I feel, especially in a live situation. So I'm really excited to play a lot of live poker this summer.
Well, we saw you playing outside in the sunshine. We saw Fedor at the Infinity Pool in Costa Rica. You LA Sunsetters are really like showing us how to do it. Unfortunately, in Las Vegas, you're going to be playing live from a studio. I hope that we'll have bright lights on you, though. Will that be okay?
Oh, that's going to be great. I think the live aspect, like GPL already has been a ton of fun. Obviously, there's a heads-up aspect of it, which is good for me, and I've run well, so that's been good for me too. But in general, the webcam feature, playing against all these great players, having the team aspect of it, following the standings, all of this stuff has been like really fun and exciting, and I think the live aspect will just build on that. I think everybody, to be honest with you, that I've spoken to and that I've heard from is really excited for the live portion of it. So studio and lights, bring it on. Like, I'm ready for it. I'm sure everybody else is too. I think it's going to be a blast.
Well, congratulations once again, and we will see you in Las Vegas. 95 points now for LA Sunset. Doing well. Second place.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm really excited.
All right, see you then. Olivier Busquet, thank you so much for the LA Sunset. Taking 6 points there for Maria Ho's side. As we said, they are in second place now behind the Montreal Nationals. We're heading back to the boys. Griff Graff for a key hand.
Thanks, Laura. Well, this is it, buddy.
Busquet over the moon to finish on a win for the LA Sunset.
I'm Griffin Benjer. This is Sam Grafton. This is the last time we're going to be speaking to you from this these desks, at least for a while.
For sure.
Had a lot of fun, but before we get into that, the memoriam, let's talk about this key hand. Very interesting hand.
A little bit un-Busquet. But
yes, which was really what made it interesting. I mean, sort of a game flow situation where Busquet decided that he wanted to apply pressure to Tom.
Yeah, he did articulate that he felt Marchese was over-folding to 3-bets. Don't know whether this is a hand Busquet normally picks the 3-bet. We did see him later on 3-bet the 10-3 suited, or if this is adaptation he's made to try and exploit Marchese's tendency to overfold or perceived tendency. 3-bets the very junky 10-4 off, and Marchese articulated that with aces at 40 big blinds, he always flats, blocking so many of Olivier Busquet's get-in hands at this stack depth.
Yeah, and obviously a flop. It's really interesting, when you try to flop when you try to trap with pocket aces pre-flop, for a lot of players out there, you see a flop like ace high, you're thinking, great, 3 of a kind, trips, so hard to lose. The reality is, when you get a board like this, it is very hard to make money because a lot of the time, Olivier Busquet is going to fire one bullet and then be given up. Luckily, on this particular occasion, Olivier, you can see a little frustration there on the turn when he sees that he's been called in the flop, but still deciding he wants to fire out. And a little out of character for Busquet here, and I think cost him the match a little bit.
Well, I mean, the thing is that Marchese can slow play pocket aces, but he's not going to slow play hands like ace-king or ace-queen, or indeed often he's not going to slow play pocket kings because Olivier Busquet is going to have some ace-x in his 3-betting range. Those hands you want to close out your opponent's equity when they have hands like 10-5 suited. Yeah. So this board so more favorable for Olivier Busquet's range. He really has so many more nut combos than Tom Marchese has.
And Tom Marchese is going to have a lot of hands like 9-10 of clubs, 9-8 of clubs, Jack-9 even of diamonds. These kind of hands that will peel on the flop and then face a really tough decision here on the turn. Olivier even remarked once Tom did call the turn that he could have some 9Xs that he might have been able to blast him off in the river. But unfortunately, the river 9, which actually saved Olivier Busquet a ton of money if he was deciding to go for a 3-barrel bluff.
Yeah, and he actually, in the interview, articulated that this was a river card that saved him. Said that he was going to fire on the river. You can see that stack to pot ratio as such only has under half pot going to the river. But this board so much more favorable for him that he said he was going to fire again. Obviously, Marchese at this point was begging for a call, really hoping that Busquet had a 9 or, a flush draw that he felt compelled to jam or pocket kings or whatever. Obviously, Marchese sitting there with the second nuts. Busquet even considered it here. You would have thought this was an automatic shutdown when all aces chop. But Busquet came to the decision this was such a bad card for him that Marchese's ace-jack, ace-3 and the like were so much more inclined to call on this river card now that they chop with ace-queen and ace-jack that he couldn't fire. And thankful, that was really thankful. That was a real great decision given the hand Marchese
And
had.
actually, one of the most fun parts about this hand for me, which I'm sure you even forgot, is that he did take some pause on the river here, not just to sort of waste time, but, that small little piece of his brain that's just like, does he have like 7-8 of spades or 6-8 of spades or 6-7 of spades here? So that was a little fun to see him go through that process.
Busquet obviously feels that Tom Marchese on that river is just going to check down his ace-jack, going to check down his ace-deuce now, and, hope to win or to chop.
Right.
That was really funny. It would have been amazing to see Busquet make that call.
Yeah, Olivier Busquet, really, narratively speaking, makes a lot of sense, him to win 2 matches against such a talent like Tom Marchese. He has really been the star for me so far in these 8 weeks, played so many matches for the Sunset set, gotten them so many points, only lost one of his many heads-up battles, the one to Felipe Ramos.
Well, we've had a lot of stories. Certainly Montreal Nationals in this conference, a really, really well-rounded unit.
So
LA
good.
Sunset, have made an impression, been much more reliant on that big 1-2, Fedor Holtz, Olivier Busquet. Unlike the Nationals, they're the guys that have posted the vast, vast majority of points. Really interesting. We're going to see Aaron Paul hopefully in action in LA. Not in LA, in Las Vegas.
He'll always be in action in LA. He'll be doing other stuff.
Probably see a bit
Drinking
more
Gatorade in particular.
Maria Ho in the live portion of the contest as well. So more to come from LA Sunset. A lot of how they're going to do within this league is going to be reliant on now the other 3 players, Chance as well, stepping up and making a contribution.
For sure. So how do we do this? Should we say bye to everyone?
For sure, bro.
Yeah. It's you get a little emotional.
You're emotional?
I'm an emotional guy. I had a lot of fun with everyone here. A lot of hours. This was it's a little surreal that it's
a lot of hours back here.
Yeah. What is it? 82 matches we did or something crazy.
Yeah,
it's a lot of games.
For sure.
Well, you did less than that.
I think the thing to say, in all honesty, is like how great have the players been. I knew the talent of the GPL had arranged, but there's been such high caliber poker from start to finish.
Yeah, so much fun to call.
Absolutely brilliant. Do continue to watch in Las Vegas. Going to be a slightly different schedule. That'll be out very soon. Follow the Twitter page. Follow the Twitch stream. Subscribe so that you know when the matches are coming up.
Yes.
Lot of action.
Survey, globalpokerleague.com. We need your help to get this to become better, guys.
Lot of
any
action
suggestions, any constructive criticism, let us know. You can find me at Griffin Bender, him at Squid Poker. And for me, it's a mic drop.
I was getting emotional in the studio. Emotional. Oh, well, we are coming to the end of the mid-season for the online portion here, but don't you worry, we have only just begun, really. We will be back in Las Vegas on June the 6th. June the 6th, remember it, Monday, June the 6th, Paris Aviators versus LA Sunset, kicking off at 11 a.m. Every match, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central European time. Then on Tuesday, June the 7th, it's going to be the Moscow Wolverines versus the San Francisco Rush. Wednesday, June the 8th, the London Royals versus the Las Vegas Moneymakers. On the Thursday, June the 9th, the Hong Kong Stars versus the Montreal Nationals. Friday, June the 10th, the Berlin Bears versus the Sao Paulo Metropolitans. And finally on Saturday, June the 11th, that will be the Rome Emperors versus the New York Rounders. That is the first heat. We have many heats to come, don't you worry. And they are all going to be live. We will be streaming 6 days a week from 11 a.m. from Monday, June the 6th. So please do remember to join us back here then, because we are excited to have you there. And in the meantime, you can always go to our website, all the W's, globalpokerleague.com. Check out all of the matches that we have had before this one, and also check out everything you need to know about your favorite players, your teams, any key hands, anything you need to know, recaps. And also give us your feedback. Let us know how we can improve on what we are doing right now. But we are going to look forward to be in the sunshine soon in Las Vegas. And also don't forget, we've got San Diego coming up and Wembley as well. Thank you so much for watching so far. Thank you to Sam and to Griffin. They're going to be out for a beer very, very soon. They've probably got a beer in their hand right now. Thank you to the crew, who I always forget to thank. But it's like an Oscar speech here, isn't it? Thank you to Eric, the stat man, for delivering all the best stats. And thank you, most importantly, to you guys for watching. But join us back here on Monday, June the 6th. We will see you then for Paris Aviators versus LA Sunset live from Las Vegas.